Hey there, Stage Math students, and welcome to Notes 2.3. So we're going to practice adding mixed numbers today, especially when we get an improper fraction as a result in our answer. We're also going to practice subtracting mixed numbers when we need to borrow, because these are two kind of tricky operations that a lot of people get messed up all the time. So we're going to try and almost drill and kill it today so that we understand it and we can do it very well. So for 6 3/4, 3 4/5, put your finger on 4, put your finger on 5 on your reference sheet, go across. You'll notice they have 20 in common as a least common multiple. So the least common denominator will be 20. So I'll multiply 3/4 by 5 and 4/5 by 4. When I do that, I'm going to have 6 and 15 over 20 plus 3 and 16 over 20. Please try and write neat like I have. Alright, so when we add this up, we get 31 over 20 and 9. So 9 and 31 over 20. So now, again, we have this improper fraction here. And because it's improper, what you need to do is change it to a mixed number all by itself. So you're going to say, alright, how many times is 20? Bottom into the top. Always the bottom into the top. Times is 20 going to 31. One time with 11 left over. So we can add a 1 and 11 twentieths to our original 9, and we can get our answer of 10 and 11 twentieths. There's your answer. Okay? Let's try J. 1/3 and 7/9. You put your finger on 3, you put your finger on 9. The common multiple they have in common is 9. So only need to work with this fraction right here. So that will give you 7 and 3/9 plus 7 and 7/9. And when you add that together, you're going to get 10/9 and 14. So again, we have an improper fraction here. Because it's improper, we're going to say 9 into 10 goes in there one time with 1 left over. So 1 and 1/9 is what we can add to our whole number. It was originally 14, and so we get 15 and 1/9 as our answer. Let's do K. 4 and 6/7 and 3 and 5/14. So put your finger on 7, put your finger on 14. The multiple they have in common is 14. So times 2 times 2. We'll get 4 and 12/14 plus 3 and 5/14. Add it up, we get 17 over 14 and 7. So 14 goes into 17 only one time with 3 left over. So we can add 1 and 3/14 to our whole number, which is 7. And we get our answer of 8 and 3/14. For I, put your finger on 12, put your finger on 4, move across, and you can see that 12 is our common denominator. So we have 8 and 5/12 plus 9/12. So we add that up. All we do is add the fractions this time. That's 14 over 12 and 8. 14 over 12 is an improper fraction. It's also not simplified, so we will have to simplify in the end. But 12 goes into 14 one time with 2 left over, so you're asking 1 and 2/12 plus 8 gives us 9 and 2/12, which we then can simplify, right? You can never have two even numbers on top of each other. And we have 9 and 1/6 as our answer. Okay, so we can extend what we've just done to geometry as well. So perimeter is the distance around an object by adding up all of its sides. And so if I add this side, this side, this side, this side, and this side, I can find the perimeter of this, what we call a polygon, right? So basically you're asking yourself, all right, if I have 7 and 1/2 plus 3 and 5/8 plus 3 and 5/8 plus 4 and 1/2 plus 6 and 1/4. Now, before you find common denominators, let's just add the stuff that we already know. So this is already has a common denominator, right? So 7 1/2 plus 4 1/2. That's going to be 11 and 2 over 2, or I'll make sure that you understand that these are what we're adding, or 12, right? Because 1 plus 1 is the 2 right there. 3 5/8 plus 3 5/8. Those guys added together are going to give you 6 10/8. And then we just have a 6 1/4. There's no other fourths. So these are actually the three numbers that we're adding. And this 6 10/8 is actually an improper fraction. So it's 6 and 8 goes into 10 one time with 2 left over, 2/8. So it's really what we're adding is 12 plus 6, 7. 6 plus 1 is 7 and 2/8. The 2/8 is 1/4 plus 6 and 1/4. And look at that. We didn't have to find any common denominators. When we started adding all of the stuff up together, we eventually got our own common denominators, right? So 6 plus 7 plus 12, or 7 and 6 is 13. So 13 plus 12 is 25. 1/4 plus 1/4 is 2/4. But then again, we can't have two even numbers ever on top of each other, so we simplify by dividing by 2. So 25 1/2 is your perimeter, your distance around this entire polygon, right? I'm going to let you probably do number 2 on Edpuzzle. That's the end of part 1.